Hello students, welcome you all in the e-learning classes of physics, and today we are going to start with a fresh unit 3rd, magnetic effect of current. This unit comprises of two chapters, namely chapter 4 moving charge and magnetism and chapter 5 magnetism and matter. So before starting with chapter 4, first we need to understand that what is the magnetic effect of current. So let us talk about magnetic effect of current first. So in our last chapter or chapter 3rd, we have studied about the heating effect of current. And as you all know that when current passes through a wire, the wire gets heated, and this effect is known as heating effect of current. So in the similar way, we can define magnetic effect of current. When current flows through a wire, then in the surrounding of that wire some magnetic field is produced, and this effect is known as magnetic effect of current. So this is about magnetic effect of current, and it was invented by Oersted in 1856 very first. So the credit for inventing magnetic effect of current goes to the great scientist in fact, Oersted. So we will talk about Oersted's experiment first, and thereafter we will move on to the chapter that is moving charge and magnetism. Okay, so let us have the setup for Oersted's experiment first, and thereafter we will draw some conclusion which were made by Oersted in his experiment. So Oersted's experiment. Oersted basically have a battery along with key, a rheostat to vary the value of current, and a conducting wire we have taken here as AB wire. Okay, so when we switch on this key, then definitely current will flow from positive terminal to the negative terminal of the battery, and suppose the value of current is I. So what actually Oersted observed is that when he put a compass in the surrounding or in the vicinity of this wire AB in which current I is flowing from left to right, then he saw a deflection in this compass, and the deflection in compass actually shows the presence of magnetic field, or in fact external magnetic field apart from the Earth's magnetic field, because this compass is basically oriented from north to south. But if there is some external magnetic field apart from the Earth's magnetic field, then it gets deflected. So he found that when the current flowing in this circuit as shown in the figure, then the deflection is suppose this clockwise direction. So when he reverses the direction of this current by simply interchanging or reversing the terminal of the battery, then the deflection comes out to be in the opposite direction, although the magnitude of the deflection was same as of previous case. Okay, apart from this, he also observed that if we increase the value of resistance with the help of rheostat, then the value of current decreases and the deflection angle is also decreasing. Means somewhere this deflection depends on the magnitude of current. So on the basis of this experiment, he made some points. So first point was, whenever current flows through a wire or a circuit, the compass needle gets deflected, means there is the presence of magnetic field, or in other words we can say whenever current flows through a wire, then definitely there is a magnetic field in the surrounding of that wire, and this effect of current is known as magnetic effect of current. So that was the very first conclusion made by Oersted. Now we are coming on to the second conclusion. As the direction of current reverses, or as we change the direction of current, then definitely the deflection also changes, or the direction of deflection also changes. That means the direction of that magnetic field depends on the direction of current. So that was the second conclusion made by Oersted in his experiment. And now comes the third point. Third important conclusion was that if we change the magnitude of this current by changing the value of this resistance with the help of this rheostat, then definitely the deflection angle is also being changed, which means the how much deflection will come in this compass needle is totally depend on the current or the magnitude of current. So the magnitude of magnetic field itself depends upon the magnitude of current. So as we increase the value of current, then definitely the value of magnetic field also increases. So these were the three conclusions made by Oersted in his experiment. And after that experiment, there were so many other experiments about the magnetic field and magnetic force, and so many other experiments were performed by other scientists also. So that is Oersted's experiment, which was the base for invention after the magnetic effect of current. Okay, now let us talk about the force, or magnetic field, how the magnetic field is to be defined. But before defining the magnetic field, we are actually going to have one more point or one more observation, and on the basis of that observation we are going to define the magnetic field. Okay, so suppose we are having a wire which carries a current from south to north or upward direction, and we are having, or we have put a charge, suppose positive charge q here at rest position, suppose. So we observe that there is no force exerted on this charge q in the surrounding of this wire. And if there is no force, if this charge q is at rest, we are not talking about the charge in motion. So if this charge q is at rest, this charge experiences no force due to this current carrying conductor. Means we can say one thing very clearly, that there is no electric field here. There is no electric field due to a moving charge, or we can say due to a current carrying conductor. So no electric field, and therefore no force on this charge. But what if we make this charge to move, and suppose we are making or moving this charge in the same direction in which this current is moving? So now it has been observed that this charge gets deflected towards this wire which carries a current I in the given direction. So means now the velocity of this particle changes, and we can say that this charge is getting deflected towards the current carrying conductor. Now why this charge is getting deflected, or the direction, or we can say why this path is such type of path, we will talk about this in our further discussion. But the point to be noted here is that whenever a moving charge is placed near a current carrying conductor, then definitely it experiences a force. but if it is at rest, then there is no force experienced by the charge. Means if the moving charge is at rest and we are having a current carrying conductor, there is no electric field, because electric field act on both moving charges as well as on rest charges. But there is a field, or there is a force which actually experienced by the moving charge only in the presence of a current carrying conductor, and this force is known as magnetic force. So this is very important point to be made here, that magnetic force always work on a moving charge, while the electric force act both on moving charge as well as rest charge. But since this q charge is not experiencing any force when it is in rest position, therefore we can conclude that a current carrying conductor does not possess or does not produce electric field. So one thing that we are sure about is that a current carrying conductor never produces electric field, and that is the reason why the charge at rest was not experiencing any sort of force. Okay, but when we move this charge, then definitely this charge experiences a force, and this charge is experiencing the force due to the magnetic field which is produced by this current carrying conductor. Hence this force is known as magnetic force. So now our concentration would be on discussion of this magnetic force. So let us talk about magnetic force first. Magnetic force, it is denoted by Fm vector. Okay, so in this experiment we can observe that this magnetic force, or the magnitude of this magnetic force, is directly proportional to the magnitude of magnetic field, which directly depend upon the magnitude of current. So if we increase the magnetic field, then definitely magnetic force also increases. So that was one observation made during this experiment. Okay, now comes when we increase the speed of that particle, or it has been observed that this magnetic force is directly proportional to the vertical component of the velocity of the charged particle. Suppose the charged particle is moving in this direction and the direction of magnetic field is suppose in this direction, so there will be an angle theta between B and V. So we can divide this velocity component into two factors. One is in the direction of magnetic field, that is V cos theta, and one in the perpendicular direction, that is V sin theta. So it has been observed that there is no force in the direction of magnetic field on the charge, but the force is maximum in the perpendicular direction of velocity component to the magnetic field. So Fm is directly proportional to V sin theta, and that is equation second. Also it has been observed that if we increase the value of charge, then definitely this force also increases. So it depends on the charge also. So these are the three equations, so three observations which come across through this observation. So if I combine all these three equations, what can be written? Fm is directly proportional to QVB sin theta, and if I put Fm is equals to K times QVB sin theta, where K is the constant of proportionality whose value is 1 when we are solving this by in MKS system. So Fm is equals to QVB sin theta, which can also be written as Fm vector is equals to Q V cross B vector. So this expression is very important expression, and now we are going to make some conclusion on the basis of this equation. So this is the equation for magnetic force magnetic force on a moving charge, on a moving charge, okay, near a current carrying conductor or in magnetic field. Okay, so we are taking a case first here, that if V equals to 0, suppose the charge it is at rest position, Q is at rest. So if the charge is at rest, then according to this equation, if velocity becomes 0, force will also become 0. So magnetic force will be 0. So there is no force exerted by the magnetic field if the charge is at rest. Okay, so that is the first case. Now we are talking about case second, that if theta is equals to 0, and theta equals to 0 means theta is what? The angle between velocity vector and magnetic field vector. So if velocity and magnetic field vector are in the same direction, or the charge is moving in the same direction in which the magnetic field is being applied, then definitely the angle will be 0. V vector is parallel to B vector. So also we can write down that if theta is equal to 0, sin theta becomes 0, force also becomes 0. So in this situation also there will be no force on the moving charge. Okay, although the charge is moving, but in the same direction in which the magnetic field is acting, therefore there will be no force on the moving charge. Okay, case third, that if theta is equal to 90 degree, then sine 90 will becomes maximum, and this force becomes maximum. So magnetic force becomes maximum, and its value is equals to QVB. Sine 90 comes out to be 1. So maximum force, if you want to apply maximum force on the moving charge, then you will have to make the charge particle moving in the perpendicular direction of the magnetic field. And the last case, case fourth, we can discuss about is that if the charge, or if there is no charge, if the neutral particle is moving, then definitely there will be no force on the neutral charge. Although on neutral particle or chargeless particle like neutron, electric field is also, or electric force is also 0. So electric force and magnetic force both are exerted on a charged particle, not on a uncharged or neutral particle. Okay, and if magnetic field is 0, then of course we can say that magnetic force also becomes 0. So these are the three cases through which we can understand that when and where the magnetic field is maximum, when the magnetic magnetic force is minimum or 0. So now from this equation we are going to define 1 Tesla, or we can say the magnetic field. We will define this magnetic field and derive the unit of magnetic field also. So this is very important formula. So magnetic force Fm in magnitude can be written as QVB sine theta, where theta is the angle between velocity vector and magnetic field vector. Okay, so this was equation 4. Now if I take theta is equals to 90 degree here, then Fm becomes maximum, and it comes out to be QVB, and sine 90, that is 1. From here B can be written as Fm divided by QV. So from here we can write the unit of this magnetic field. So what should be the unit? The unit of force is Newton, the unit of charge is Coulomb, and the unit of velocity is meter per second. So it comes out to be meter inverse second. Okay, so this is the unit, but we will not use this unit anymore. This unit is also termed as Tesla. So the SI unit of magnetic field is Tesla, and in CGS it is denoted in Gauss, and there is a relation that 1 Tesla is equals to 10 raised to the power 5, or in fact 4 Gauss. This is the value of or this is the relation between Tesla and Gauss. So this is in CGS the unit of magnetic field, this is in SI system the unit of magnetic field. Now we will define that how much is the 1 Tesla, or how 1 Tesla can be defined. So definition of unit Tesla or 1 Tesla. So from here, from equation 4, if theta is equals to 90 degree, velocity becomes 1 meter per second. Suppose the charged particle is moving with unit velocity, and this q is 1 coulomb. Q is 1 coulomb, and this force is 1 Newton. Suppose magnetic force exerted on the charged particle due to magnetic field is 1 Newton. So what can be written from this equation? You can say this, suppose equation 5th. So B is equal to 1 divided by 1 into 1, that comes out to be 1 Tesla. So now you can define 1 Tesla here. How we can define 1 Tesla? 1 Tesla is the value of magnetic field in which, when a charged particle of 1 coulomb charge moving with velocity 1 meter per second in the perpendicular direction to the magnetic field experiences a force of 1 Newton. So this is how we can define 1 Tesla. You can note it down that 1 Tesla is the value of magnetic field in that when a charged particle of 1 coulomb or unit charge particle moving with unit velocity 1 meter per second in the perpendicular direction of magnetic field experiences a force of 1 Newton, then the magnitude of that magnetic field is said to be 1 Tesla. So this is how we can define the unit Tesla or 1 Tesla. Okay.